Hello and welcome back. In today's lesson we'll discuss loss of tail rotor effectiveness, or LTE, during hovering. Now LTE doesn't mean that there is something wrong with your tail rotors or there's any mechanical malfunction, but it's rather an aerodynamic phenomenon. Now there's a risk for LTE during a hover if you have a wind basically from the left in a helicopter with counter-rotating main rotor. First of all, if you have a wind from the left or forward left, then the vortices from your main rotor might be blown into your tail rotor, reducing its effectiveness. Furthermore, a more or less direct crosswind from the left may push the air that is actually pushed out by your tail rotor to the left back into it. So actually leading to vortex ring state of the tail rotor. And then the third problem is a wind from behind, so tailwind, because the helicopter wants to weather vane into the wind. In all these cases, you will have yaw. Unanticipated yaw, it's a yaw that you didn't command. And it's, in most cases, quite easy to prevent getting into LTE if you really pay attention to your pedals. So you never let a really big yaw develop. As soon as you notice a yaw that you didn't want, correct it. Especially if you have a nose right yaw, just apply the left pedal immediately. And if you do that, and you simply do not let the yaw develop, then you should be pretty safe. However, today we'll talk about what you can do if you're already in LTE. So this means you have a yaw to the right, normally to the right, that you cannot correct anymore by applying left pedal. So you apply left pedal, but you're already at the stop with the pedal, and the nose is still yawing right, so the helicopter is spinning. Now there are two things you could do. First thing is to increase your forward speed to above 70 knots, because then the vertical stabilizer on the helicopter will help you to maintain a steady yaw, or a steady heading, sorry. So this you would use if you're above an area where you cannot do an auto-rotation landing, but you still have to proceed somewhere. So then you would increase the speed and have the vertical stabilizer stabilize you and the helicopter. But if this happens in a hover, so most probably you're above an area where you just departed or you're about to land, so a suitable area, then normally it's better to simply do an auto rotation. So actually you do an auto rotation out of the hover, so it's like an engine failure during hover. The only difference is that you manually have to enter the auto rotation, so you have to roll the throttle into the over-travel spring. And you have to hold it there until after touchdown, and until shutdown actually. Because if you don't do that and you then pull collective at some point to cushion the landing, then the correlator and the governor will increase the throttle again, so the helicopter will again start spinning. And the whole point of entering the auto rotation landing was to reduce engine power, so the torque, because we actually need the tail rotor because of the torque. So if we eliminate the torque, then also we will stop the yaw. So that's why we enter auto rotation. But then you just keep in mind you have to roll into idle and into the over travel spring and hold it there for touchdown. Rest is actually basically the same as in an engine failure. The right yaw will stop or will be greatly reduced as soon as you drop the power. Then you will just use the pedals to maintain the helicopter in a hopefully more or less steady heading. Wait a little bit until the helicopter starts to settle, and then pull a bit collective, or as much collective as you need to cushion the landing. Okay, so I'll now go into hover and demonstrate this for you. Okay, so we're in a hover right now. We're not really paying attention. There's some right yaw developing. Not doing anything about it, so it's continuing. And then at some point it's reaching, well, yes, the point where you're at the stop with left pedal, but it doesn't help. The helicopter is still spinning to the right. So all you can do now is reduce the torque by chopping the throttle, and then do an auto rotation landing. That's what I'm going to do now. So just like in an engine failure during hover, apply pedal to keep your direction, if possible. Wait with the collective until the helicopter starts to settle, and then pull collective to cushion the touchdown. So this was a landing from loss of tail rotor effectiveness during a hover. In the next lesson, we'll discuss LTE during forward flight. So see you then.